Ladies and gentlemen, the So What Morning Show is back in the building. It's August 18th, 2014. And we have another incredible show lined up for you. Guess what? The war doesn't stop. The information, the grind, the hustle. That's why we created this platform. Nobody's talking about what we're talking about in the way that we're doing it. So with that said, let's get right to the community empowerment. In front of me are juices put together by my homeboy. I'm very proud of him. He created his own company. He's a fitness trainer guru. His name is Hassan McCullough. Great guy. This is his immunity line. The name of his product is called We Juice, the French word O-U-I, We Juice. And you can go to wejuice.com and purchase your juices. All fresh, all organic, all raw, incredible. Right now I'm holding Cool Water, which is watermelon, ginger, and mint. And that's it. Notice there's no GMO and no extra nothingness on the back. This is his immunity line. And the brother is a cold, cold cat. And I wanted to support him like that on the show. Again, support black dollars, support black businesses. This is how you create a social infrastructure where you could start buying the politicians and the police officers, and then they'll recognize you in the street and won't beat you or shoot you or kill you. So with that said, one of my guests are on the show today, and she has a great book. It's called The Coolest Quote Book Ever. It's written by Shereen Thor. Now, I don't know if she's related to Odin, but, you know, maybe Thor's little sister, but she has a great book. I want you to go to Amazon.com and purchase it. She'll be on right now. She's an activist, and she deals in teaching people how to rebel. And I think, according to our show today, this is going to be a very, very powerful topic, and she's going to weigh in very heavily. Also, real men don't play. Stop playing with real men. You're going to get hurt. Author Bobby Glanton-Smith, incredible brother. He's my surrogate uncle on the show. I appreciate all of his wisdom and knowledge. This book is now available on Amazon.com. So go there right now or go to his website, realmendon'tplay.com, and support and purchase his work. Also, go get my book. Only a few copies left. I promise you they're going to be up out of here. And when they are, that's it. The Rebirth of Seeds. You can get that at IamZoWilliams.com. That is my website, IamZoWilliams.com. Please, please, please continue to support that. Also, a couple of businesses that I always support, that I always mention, and it's very important that I do so. EasyBoyWeb.com. Please continue to support this brother as well. Web designer, logos, Twitter, Instagram, all those campaigns you need put together and done for your business, your small business. He has all of your digital solutions. Easy Boy Web. Please go support right now. Also, Urban Royal Tees. Urban Royal Tees. UrbanRoyaltyTees.com. Go support them. Blackmastery.com. Ramomart.com, HipLoose.com, AriseHospitality.com. I'll say them again. Ramomart. That's Arise Hospitality. That is the Black Office Depot. All black owned. Office Max, Staples, furniture, pens, stationery. They've got it all. Please support them. Hiploose.com. Fashion. These brothers right here are master tailors. You want a tailored suit? Look at that lapel flower get down. That's a whole nother level of classification, pimp. You want to get down? Get down with hiploose.com. Please support their movement. Black-owned tailors, right? I'm going to say them again. Did you put up Ramo Mart? Let's put up Ramo Mart real quick. I'm wearing one of the shirts right now. The brother has a lot of really nice things, and guess what? All your orders are now being filled. I appreciate everybody for waiting, and now they're here. They're coming in, so y'all can leave me alone about it. I got more. What else do I have? What else? You know what? I'm not going to promote any more things right now because I'm so excited about today's topic. When I tell you we about to go in, we got great guests. We've got people that's going to weigh in on this. But before we leave, I'm urging you right now, don't play yourself, because that's what this show is about, changing your belief system. Black Mastery as a neuro-linguistic program, you got to get it. You got to rewrite the thought process, the software, the program that's running on your black brains. And we're going to attack that today. Go to blackmastery.com. Hook up with Vanessa Conway. She is the author and creator of this. It's amazing, man. Narrated by Iyanla Vanzant, a neuro-linguistic program that undoes all of the negative thoughts that black people as a community tend to hold and harbor. So you got to get busy, blackmastery.com. Play the Black Mastery and I'm out.
And one of the greatest tragedies in life is getting to the end of your life and looking back and realizing it was mediocre, and it didn't have to be that way. The number one reason is people are unwilling to listen and care about what's important to the other person. But what if you could be someone who dared to care about everybody in your life? When you're in love, smoke gets in your eyes. But when you're anxious, you talk more than you listen. I asked my wife a month ago, I said, I don't know whether to have an affair or buy a motorcycle. And she said, if you have an affair, I'll kill you. If you get the motorcycle, you'll kill yourself. Go with the bike. Okay, activism. So I want to get this chunk out, and then you can all throw me to the curb for being really unrealistic. You know, my mission in life, my personal mission, is fixing the world one conversation at a time. And I know activism needs to take place as a movement, but something I want to talk about is why is a white guy like me co-hosting a black radio show? And one of the things that I'm not a liar, but one of the things I can't stand is when I discover I've been lying to myself. So years ago, and this will be a little controversial, I worked with the prosecution in the O.J. Simpson trial. And when the not guilty verdict came in, I went over to one of my black friends and I said, I can't stand this. I can't stand the way the world is stacked against you. And then I realized that you probably have felt that for a while. And he looked me right in the eye and he said, I've never felt anything but that. And it was such an awful feeling. I looked at him and I said, why didn't you tell me it was so bad? This is horrendous. And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, because you didn't want to know. And he was right. And that has haunted me. And so one of the reasons I'm on this show is I need to know. Because I'm not someone who can knowingly lie to himself. And I think if there was a way of us having conversations like that, but you got to find people who are more bothered by being hypocrites than they prefer to be self-righteous. But find those people and then bring them to any cause, because I can't stand lying to myself. So that's my little tip of the day.
Wow. Don't lie to yourself. That's the doc's tip. And that takes us to the topic. You know how we do. We like to rattle cages. We like to force people to think. We want you uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable after this show, we failed. Right? We might as well not be on. So with that said, today's topic, Fight Club, the Revolutionary Activism Show. What is the most effective way to affect change in today's American society? And you know me, I've got questions. activism, is it a form of terrorism? The reason why I say that, soon as you put together a collection of people that stand against something that's wrong in this company or in this country, what happens? The riot police come out, and we're starting to see an over-militarization of the police force all across the nation, right? And how do they normally deal with peaceful protesters, whether it's students, right? How many times have you seen students just get, maced in the face? We're trying to break this up. Well, they're just marching. When did marching become, a terrorist act? That's how they're dealing with people nowadays. I have questions. True or false? Right? This is going to be crazy. I can't. In today's post-9/11 era, are all forms of activism being seen as an act of homeland terrorism? What is a virtual sit-in? Do you think hacktivism is the new way to be an activist? You saw Anonymous. A lot of people are kind of funny style with Anonymous too. Why? Because the information that they're delivering seems to be not the truth or different than what the official statements are. Remember, they came out with a police officer in his name, but it wasn't the guy that Ferguson came out with. Is it all a ploy? I don't know. What form of activism is the best? Is it letter writing? Is it lobbying? Right? A lot of times you get a lot done if you're a lobbyist, right? What do we need to do in order for the American government to see its population as people? Very interesting questions. We have an august panel that will discuss said questions. Directly across me is one of the smartest, most wise men I've ever met. And so now he is my surrogate uncle. He's old, he's ornery.
You thought it was you, huh?
But he's intelligent. Bobby G, author of Real Men Don't Play. I swear to God he don't play. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Next guest. I don't even know what to say.
Come on, Bobby. Come on.
Well, I'm here to represent the Tea Party and Newt Gingrich and Rush Limbaugh today.
That's who you here to? Okay.
Yes, because the message just didn't seem to resonate with you people. You have no rights because you won't do the things to protect your rights.
Bobby, thank you for that little soliloquy. We're going to move on now. Shereen Thor.
Holla.
She is an author. I highlighted her book, Thor, daughter of Odin.
Exactly.
Right?
I am Thor's daughter. I have a cold.
No, she's an author of the book called The Coolest Quote Book Ever, right? And she founded something called Awaken the Rebel, a movement that helps people who feel disenchanted with their lives to stop settling for less and awakening their inner rebellious. I'm all about rebellion.
Oh, yeah, baby.
That's why we brought you on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Again, the homeboy Hassan McCullough is in the building. He is the one who created WeJuice, WeJuice.com, personal trainer, fitness trainer, nutritionist, the whole nine. Oldie Locks, better known as Whitey Locks, is in the building right now. Dr. Mark Goulston, author of Just Listen and Real Influence. Yes, hold it up.
That's right, because you didn't.
I'm sorry. I've just been doing it for 2 years.
I'm sorry,
Jesus.
we tokens got to mind ourselves. I'm sorry.
Very disrespectful. And, of course, the intellectual irritant, comedian extraordinaire, all around real cat, Jeff Brown in the building.
What's up? How you feeling, player?
And if you haven't recognized her yet,
You know,
as soon as I saw her, I started hopping on one leg.
I don't get starstruck often, dude.
Don't make me hop after you.
Killed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, if you don't know, you just don't know. I don't know where you've been. I mean, she's been all in the heat of the night. My mother, before she passed, she never missed Texas Walker, Ranger,
Walker, Texas Ranger.
and In the Heat of the Night.
In the Heat of the Night.
I'm not missing none of that.
Virgil Tibbs.
You understand? And as a young guy in Living Color, Right?
Come on, man.
She's brilliant. I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Oh my God. Destroy it.
Just destroyed it. Legendary actress. We're gonna give her all the love she deserves. And also, she was a 4-term VP at SAG.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So she about her business now. Please understand. Without further ado, damn it, Anne-Marie Johnson is in the building.
All right.
It's about to get nuts. Oh no! And then Corey Holcomb showed up.
Is that Corey?
Jesus Christ! It's gonna turn the corner real quick up in here this evening. Let me ask you all this question: would police brutality and police malconduct be lessened, right, if the nation's police force and military were forced through this creation of a Mike Brown law, forced to wear police body cameras?
No.
Would it all change or no?
I think
Here we go, Lisa.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, first of all, I'm biased because my father was LAPD. So I'm a cop's kid. I have a different perspective. I lived it. And he was an officer when it was not advantageous for African Americans to be police officers. So,
Still isn't.
well, let me tell you from experience. It's a lot better now than it could have ever been when my father was police. He was one of the first to integrate squad cars and no one wanted to ride with him. So, I have a different take on what's going on. I know you asked a specific question. Would there be less abuse of power if officers or first responders or peace officers were told, or if it was mandated that they wear cameras and recording equipment? Yes. I think you'd see a lessening of the abuse. I think you'd see a higher level of accountability. But I think it's a deeper question. I think, and I know we're going to get to it because we were talking about it in the green room, we all need to talk about our accountability and what we do as citizens and as human beings, according to the doctrine. I agree with you. It is much deeper than the surface, obviously.
Jeff Brown.
I tend to agree with about 85% of that, which is I don't think that the victim's behavior has anything to do with the protocol of the individual in charge of the victim. I don't give a shit what I did. If I just got through ass raping 5-year-olds, if I don't have a gun, you're not supposed to shoot me in the fucking eye. That's okay. That's it. I don't care what I did. Okay? You know what I think black people want? We just want you to treat us like rich, fat, white guys. If you could just do that, because I've never seen a rich, fat, white guy pulled out of his M5 and sat on the curb in a $1,500 suit. I was driving an M5 in a $1,500 suit and got pulled out and sat on a goddamn curb, and I was 3 blocks from my home. So the fat white guys don't go through that. If we could just all get the same rights as the dudes on the dollar bills, but that's not going to happen.
I got to say something. You know, with the current technology, what if people who lived in places where they get abused and misused, or what if there are pens available, you can put it in your pocket, and what if it was tape and stream, meaning as soon as it streams, as opposed to someone ripping it out of your pocket before you upload it or download it. I think if you, there's a saying...
Dr. Evil, what are you doing?
No, there's a saying, sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. One of the Supreme Court judges said that. And so with this technology, I mean, people, you're not allowed to tape people, but the point is if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. But imagine that, it's just in your pocket. I think they're even available now for less than $100. So, whenever you feel like you're in danger of something.
How do you turn it on in the presence of a cop bearing down on you with a gun?
Well, maybe one of the things is...
if you black and you reach for it,
but maybe
there's an issue.
No, but maybe one of the things is it is activated, you get it activated by voices. So it automatically goes on and off. It's activated by stuff like that. But the point is, if it's just recording it and then it streams it immediately... then let the jury of public opinion take care of that.
Let Loki's sister speak.
Rodney King, even when things are recorded, the jury did speak, and the police were exonerated until it went to a civil rights federal law. I think this is not about recording. This is not about what you caught on tape, who said, who shot John. We need to have an honest conversation about the systematic and institutionalized level of racism that we all have to own up to. All of us have to own up to. And this country still refuses to have an honest conversation. Even amongst African Americans, we don't have an honest conversation about racism.
Well, let's ask that honest question. With 2 minutes, right. Let's ask that honest question then. Who's more responsible for the stereotypes? Because I believe police officers don't police people, they police stereotypes.
We are responsible
Right?
for our stereotypes.
Right? Should we not take some responsibility for the perpetuation of the stereotype?
Yes.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I think stereotypes.
While I'm talking.
I'm sorry. I think stereotypes are just used actually to weaken you, and there are some truth to. Okay, let me put it out there. I own my stereotypes. Yes, I love chicken. I love watermelon. I am
And
working.
the seeds.
Yes, I am working with the government right now to come up with a watermelon and chicken flavored smoothie with just the right amount of crack in it, so I'm never late, even if my fat white girlfriend won't help me jumpstart my Cadillac. I don't give a shit about how you look at me. It is not about that, okay? The honest conversation we want to have will never happen because it gets back to why Dr. King was really killed, which was for coming to get that money. This all gets back to that money. If we really start getting into this, and I have to start treating you like me, well, where's that slippery slope in? Because eventually it's going to get back to 40 acres and a mule, and I'm not giving you that shit.
Right.
So. Yeah, that's that.
Well, let's do this. We're about to take a quick break, but before we go, what is the most effective form of activism today? Marching, social media, conventional media, i.e. radio, television, civil unrest, the court system? I think civil unrest is kind of cute right now.
Right?
Somebody holla at us. 855-878-4652. We'll be back in a second. So what?
Greetings world, we are anonymous. On August 9th in Ferguson, Missouri, the 17-year-old and unarmed Mike Brown was shot several times and killed by an officer of the Ferguson Police Department. His body was left to lie in a pool of blood in the sweltering heat for hours while 15 police departments militarized the area against protesters, sealed the roads leading to Ferguson in a vain attempt to prevent protesters from reaching the city. The police has clearly crossed a line in the sand. For this reason, Anonymous will not be satisfied this time, as we have in the past, with simply obtaining justice for this young man and his family. Anonymous demands that the congressional representatives and senators from Missouri introduce legislation entitled Mike Brown's Law, that will set strict national standards for police conduct and misbehavior in the USA. To the good people of Ferguson, take heart, and take your streets. You are not alone. We will support you in every way possible. Occupy every square inch of your city. Demand justice. Staying silent today could result in the death of your kid tomorrow. To the Ferguson Police Department and any other jurisdictions who are deployed to the protests, we are watching you very closely. If you abuse, harass, or harm in any way the protesters in Ferguson, we will take every web-based asset of your departments and governments offline. That is not a threat, it is a promise. Attacking the protesters will result in the release of personal information on every single member of the Ferguson Police Department, as well as any other jurisdiction that participates in the abuse of this state's own law. We will seize all your databases and emails pools and dump them on the internet. This is your first and last warning.
How you gonna be a man and we starving? Go ahead. You know? And you can walk by 5 different houses, ain't a man in either one of them motherfuckers. How we gonna be a man? How we gonna be African Americans and we out here dying? We done and we niggas until we set this shit right. Trust me when I tell you that shit.
Hey, it is going down up in here. Hold on. It is going down.
I need to know when black folks kill the Indians.
Jeff, hold on. God damn it. It is going down. Hey, it's going down right now. Everybody in here is heated over this conversation.
You're damn right.
I don't think my sister next to me, Anne Marie Johnson, right? I don't think she really liked what Tupac had to say. And a lot about what was going on in here between Corey and Jeff. And she's saying it's that same old excuse black people is making. Could you please elaborate?
It's not that I didn't like what Tupac was saying. Like it's just that we have to realize who killed Tupac.
Who killed him?
That's my question. Who killed Tupac?
But you ain't say nothing.
Who killed Tupac?
Answer her question.
It's just a simple question.
I'll answer. I mean, I think it's apples and bowling balls, but I'll answer. The greasiest, dirtiest, angriest, ignorantest, blackest, filthy, big niggas in the world killed Tupac, and that has nothing to do with Mike Brown's eye with a bullet in it.
We weren't talking about Mike Brown's eye with a bullet.
What black people do to black people doesn't have a goddamn other than this, the definition of a sucker is anybody who respects something more than it respects itself. I will give you that. However, the fact that I don't respect myself, the fact that I don't keep my yard clean is not a license for you to burn my fucking house down.
No one is saying that.
That's what it sounds like. I can't tell you what it is. I can tell you what it looks like.
When Bill Cosby tried to have an honest conversation about who we are in
Which
this
Bill
country,
Cosby?
Bill Cosby.
But no. There's a 70s Bill Cosby.
No, I'm talking about the Bill Cosby in the 21st century.
Oh, you're talking about that one.
Had tried to have an honest conversation about who we are as African Americans in this country and where our responsibilities may lie. He was vilified in 5 seconds. When are we going to have that conversation?
I'll tell you when.
Corey Holcomb, speak to it. Because the rest of the panel scared as shit.
This is the problem. In this country,
Shut up.
there are black people who want to fit in to a system where nothing is built for you. They want to vote. They want to act like, oh, we have our chance. All we have to do is this. No, you don't have a chance. You were brought here as, I'm almost done.
Don't have a chance?
We were brought here as slaves. We built the country. Now they have no use for you. So shit like what happened to Mike Brown and all the rest of the shit around the country will continue until you rise up. Then they're going to slaughter everybody.
Okay,
so as long as you try to kiss ass to fit in, you never going to fit in no matter how light you are. You're not Caucasian.
We're over 13% of the American population. Are you telling me that we don't fit in?
Yes.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Are you telling us
we fit in prisons?
Shereen. Bobby and then Shereen.
Thank you. I'm like freaking out over here.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, I will.
Bobby long-winded, so go ahead.
Yeah. I'll follow you.
I'll use my pregnant privilege right now.
PP.
All right, cool. So I want to respond to you because that's a really good point you brought up about Bill Cosby in the 70s. Because I've been researching a little bit, and I was watching the Bullet or Ballot speech by Malcolm X in 1964, and he brought up exactly what you're talking about, this idea of like what Gil was talking about. Everything needs to change in your mind first. Like, I'm a life coach. It's always about that personal development for me. So he's right. Everything needs to change in your mind first. That's not a new conversation that Bill Cosby brought up. It's freaking old. And Malcolm X is talking to thousands of people, literally calling them chumps, telling them, you let yourself get taken advantage. You need to take personal responsibility. You need to change the way your philosophy think, like the way you think, so that you can change your attitude, so that you can change your actions, and then get those good results. So that's not a new conversation, and he was not vilified with that conversation. They were like, round of applause.
That's part of the Nation of Islam's
You mean
doctrine.
2 years ago when he did?
No, she's talking about when Malcolm said
No, I'm talking about the 21st century when Bill Cosby tried to have that conversation. He was vilified by the African American community.
But the reason why he was vilified, let's keep it all in context. Let's keep it in context. The reason why he was vilified was A, his tone and his delivery.
That's mostly what it was.
Because he was speaking from a space of condescension and not inspiration.
You people.
Right? B, whenever you have the bootstrap conversation without the systemic racism, the infrastructure, it's almost like saying, regardless of all of that, regardless of everything that's in place, right, you still should be able to make it.
Right.
Get your shit together with my foot.
But when you go in, get your shit together with my foot firmly in your ass. You should get comfortable wearing jeans that has a cutout from my foot. Right. So again, when you do that and you don't mention the situation and circumstances surrounding the young African American men, Like, it's just pull your bootstraps. Just get together.
Come on, let's go,
It's
buddy.
not that simple. It's not that simple.
That's not what I got from it.
But again, that's why Bill Cosby was vilified. It was like, you people over there, y'all got a culture of ignorance. And it's like, wait a minute. Let's really get into this. If you go up to Stanford has a professor, right? He's a sociologist. He majors in something called stereotype threat. And he talks about how the testing, the scoring, all of that in the school systems are designed to keep the races separate. There is a study out that says when white 17-year-olds graduate versus black 17-year-olds when they graduate from high school, the whites have a 4-year gap in advancement on blacks in reading. And that's just on how the damn books are structured, how the work is structured. So, stereotype threat, what does that mean? In the information, if there is any negative disparaging of my people, or I'm not in the educational curriculum, there is an insecurity that's inbuilt in the learning. Stereotype threat. And they said this is across not just high school, not just elementary, but on into college, whether it's Harvard or wherever. So let's not have the bootstrap conversation without that counterpiece.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Go ahead.
I thought I was next.
Let's talk about.
I'm sorry, Bob. Well, you gave up your spot. Don't get out of line and try to come back. Go ahead, Bobby. Shit.
All right, quickly. First and foremost, Mike Brown was executed. And I think there's a lot of factors involved in that do need to be discussed separately, because we can't enjoin those two conversations, because the boy was executed by a policeman that was unprofessional. He was racially guided by that action, because he would never do that to people in another community that he lives in, because he's policing the area he doesn't know anything about anyway and care anything about. So what goes on in these contained areas, and that's what black communities have become, contained areas where the same laws do not apply.
Right.
Now, with that point being made, I have to be honest and say what led up to that, I want to take some responsibility for that, my generation, because Mike Brown was supposed to learn that you don't take nothing from somebody that's not yours. Not just him, a whole generation of young black kids have this notion that you can take what you want. And it's up to my generation and preceding generations to communicate that message, irregardless of what's happening outside of our community. That's how we should be treating each other, with a certain level of respect. That's why it's two different conversations. And you got to have one straight away. And the first thing they need to do right now is arrest that policeman for murdering that boy. Period.
Really, that's the truth. Because Dr. G and then Jeff.
Run out of time.
Just go ahead.
Okay, go to brownlist.com. Brownlist.com. It's a site that's going to explode in the next few months. Really, what it is you can bring any problem to the site as long as you attach a solution to it. You cannot bring a problem unless it has a solution, and then it crowdsources solutions. So if you want to offer better solutions to that problem, you can, but the whole idea is no problems without a solution, and I think it's a reaction to people not taking any personal responsibility for anything, but it's a great concept. Brownlist.com.
Good stuff. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more questions on this topic. It's a very important topic. How do we affect change? I don't think we can affect change through activism until we are personally accountable. I think that's what's being laid out here. We'll be back at 2.2. ZoWilliams Morning Show. Holla! Wow. Dr. G? Dr. G has a question.
I got an urgent question that only a white guy can ask. On my way to the restroom, I noticed that Dr. Phil is filming next door, and they have lots of boxes of donuts in the corridor. You think if a white guy stole one of them, I could get away with it?
No.
They wouldn't even
I think I could do that.
Yeah, you could.
Of course, they wouldn't even ask you about it.
Oh, you're older Jewish gentleman in glasses. You look like a producer.
Right. Hassan, you speak to us, Hassan.
Okay. So, you guys know me as a juicer and stuff like that. I don't really create a lot of animosity, but I was raised Muslim. My father was in the Nation of Islam. So one thing I think about with everybody, black people are known as entertainers for everybody. We're not really known as inventors or people that really do stuff to inspire the world. We just entertain people, athletes, actors. That's what we're really known for. We're not known for anything else, even though we have done other stuff.
Right.
But we're not known for that. So,
and the history is rich in us doing other stuff, but it's not highlighted. Right.
So we're not important for doing all these other things, but entertaining people. So we're not that important for a lot of people.
So you're saying there's just an overall low value placed on black people around the world.
That's how we're perceived, and that's the truth. We're perceived like that.
It shouldn't matter.
If you're Shaq, you're an athlete, you're cool. But if you're trying to...
That's a good point.
...make a company...
They won't put you on TV.
It's not the same.
You don't do business, Negro.
This is entrepreneur talk right here.
You just buy from businesses.
Can you take off from the free throw line? But it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter to us.
No.
It should matter to
Exactly.
us.
And that's all I'm talking about.
It should matter to us.
That's all I'm talking about. It shouldn't matter. I don't care how you view me. I don't care how you see me or what you think of me. It's what I think of myself.
The problem is there are a lot of black people that do care. They want to be accepted by their master, and they will not stop until their master pats them on the head and said, "You know what? You're just like me." Their whole life is set up to try and fit in a system that's not going to let them fit in.
And Anne-Marie doesn't agree.
He brings up a good point, though. I'm just going to jump on. He brings up a good point, and it kind of is piggybacking off of what you were saying earlier.
Thank you, sexy pregnant girl.
No problem, boo. I got you. You can't really address this idea because I think Malcolm X and all of us are right. You have to change your mind first, all that good stuff, personal revolution before you can make any kind of real change. And I think you brought up a really poignant point earlier, which is the systemization of racism. The sort of subpar quality that is given in educational systems and everything that's kind of up against them as it is. And you bring up a really interesting point of general, like forgive me, I am pregnant and hormones make you slow.
But you're a little dull today. Blame it on the baby.
Yeah. What's the guy's excuse?
Right.
Well,
I'm a dude. I'm supposed to be slower than you.
But this idea of, he's talking about like generations and generations and generations before us. If you've been taught to have a master who's going to approve of you, then for sure, to some degree, you're going to have to break that generational issue.
Go deeper.
So I like what you're saying, even though I don't like the idea that someone would have this need for a master, and I'm resistant. The optimist in me wants to say, like, oh, hell no, that's not true. It's all about your personal freedom. But no, there is. Go. Do you have to, go for it.
All you have to do is watch how black people conduct themselves around white people, and then you know everything you need to know about that black person. When you see them around white people, watch how they act.
Hi, how are you? Hey.
How's everything?
Well, I'm going to represent the African-American person who was raised in an integrated society.
Speak on it.
Okay.
Go, girlfriend.
I was not raised in one particular area against another area. I was raised in an integrated society, went to integrated schools, junior high school, college, graduated from UCLA. My great aunt was the first African American woman to graduate from UCLA when the original campus was at the LACC campus. Wow. So history. I probably know more about African American history than my color
would dictate.
Right. Speak on it. You got
because I feel, as I have felt my whole life, that those of us of a certain hue are marginalized when it comes to the conversation of who's the biggest nigger, who's been treated worse. Are you a real black person or are you a real black person? So I come from a unique perspective in this room, but not a unique perspective in society.
No, not really. Not really.
Let her finish her point, though.
I will.
You don't think I'm coming from a unique
perspective?
Not at all.
Not at all.
You gotta let her finish, though.
Let her finish, but not at all.
No. I want you to tell me how I'm not coming from a unique perspective in this room.
There's nothing unique about.
Word your shit.
No, it ain't no game because the reason you look the way that you look has everything to do with this conversation because 1/10 of a
We
piece
know
of
that. We know that.
you got
We
to-
know
Don't
that.
give me that.
I'm talking about my unique experience.
You gonna let him finish?
But I didn't even get
You gonna let him finish?
Okay, go ahead, finish.
All right.
What is mine?
Hold on.
What does it mind?
I'm the room cop. All right. Hold up. Now, if you gonna get a man the floor, get a man the damn floor.
Yeah, but he was going to a place that I wasn't even going.
That doesn't matter. You get a chance. Hold on.
It's not that I don't like it. It's old. It's old news.
And you know what?
What makes me unique here in this room?
Okay. Now, hold on.
That's what I asked.
Now, is it okay? Uncle Bobby.
You said you were
Not
unique.
historically.
Uncle Bobby, I got you. Hold on a second. He is going to answer your question. He needs. Hold on.
What?
He needs. Can I have 15 uninterrupted fucking seconds from you adults?
Let Bobby talk.
Thank you. This man is going to attempt to answer your question, and he may not do it the way you like, and you will have the chance to rebut him the way white folks do in debate. Now, if you don't like what he got to say, hold it. Hit it.
The moment's
Okay.
already passed.
All right. See, we watched the tape from 50 years ago when Malcolm X was talking, and we just had that same thing recreated in this room. Because what you said about being unique is the same issue, the light skin versus the dark skin. Let me finish. What I'm saying is, yeah, she was shaking her head already.
Let her finish, go.
We've been going through this light skin black thing from the perspective of you're sitting there saying, my people did this, and they were the first this and the first that. Woo. And if we still having that first conversation, ain't nothing changed. It ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing unique about that.
I'm responding to his comment.
Hey, I'll let you know what the
I
period
didn't graduate from
You're not the
UCLA.
only one that got a college degree in here. I got one too.
I didn't even
You know
say
where the period
that.
go? The period
This is
means
where-
that I'm through talking.
This is where it's not.
The period
this
means
is where
I'm
it
through
gets,
talking.
It gets
I don't have a college degree, but I bet I got more money than most of them motherfuckers that come up out of UCLA.
So-
I bet I make more money than them motherfuckers.
And he dark skinned.
Okay, so
And
this
dark
is
skinned.
technically off the rails.
Officially.
Officially and technically. We're going to take a quick break, and I promise you, I'm going to get ordered, and we're going to come back sane. ZoWilliams Morning Show. We'll be back in a second.
Oh my God, how he has a rap career is beyond me. I don't get it. And he takes his shirt off. Oh my God, he looks like 50 pounds of chewed Tootsie Rolls with his... All right. Now, you are in white fashion. You know white boys always leave the house like they're going to help somebody move. Resist and defend the horrible hoes. There are some horrible people. And what you need to do is start policing your own. Okay. Just like last week, it is week number 3 that let me check. Baby Teen Wolf, has Sharon Cummings called the show? Mick Hucknall's nephew, has Sharon Cummings called the show? Okay. Sharon Cummings is the lady that works at the police station that said the incredibly, in Malibu, thank you, that said the incredibly derogatory things about the missing and now dead Mitrice Jameson, and I'm waiting on her call to defend herself. The Mitrice, yes, the Mitrice case. Thank you, Zoe. Yes. Today, we've been kind of getting into it and going back and forth, and there's some very valid points on either side with regard to black people needing to get their shit together. And that is exactly right, and I totally agree. But I agree from the burn standpoint. Where I think we need to be, and I'm a little radical, but because black people are in a position to where if they integrate and assimilate, that they can buy separation. That day comes to an end when the dollar crashes, and it is coming. And you will then see, and to me, that's the only time that black people are going to get together, is when Puffy is being chased by the same militia dude that's chasing somebody homeless. Money is what black people worship. Anything that goes wrong, he got money. That's the first thing black people say. What I think needs to happen with Mike Brown And with all of these cases, it's something I like to call financial terrorism. If it were up to me, as black people, we would pick an innocent corporation, as innocent as Mike was. What do you mean, innocent? An innocent, let's just say Anheuser-Busch is innocent. They're in St. Louis. They have nothing to do with this. But what if we said, hey, you guys, we see that you didn't do anything against us, but you didn't do a goddamn thing for it as a corporation. You didn't send down anything for the looters to drink, did you? You didn't send down any milk for them to pour over their heads to counteract the tear gas, did you? So for the next 10 years, nobody black or sympathetic with its cause, black people's cause, will drink Budweiser. We don't drink Bud. That's usually for NASCAR, white guys watching cars turn left. They drink a lot of that. We don't really drink that, but Bud Light, anything you bottle, we're not drinking for 10 years. And we got this big board that we just spin and throw a dart at. And whatever corporation we hit, that's the one we make suffer. And until we figure out that the only thing an aggressor respects is either equal or greater aggression. Take that from a dude that got beat up by bullies on the south side of Chicago in the 70s. That's the truth. Until we figure that out, that no one gives a fuck about your rights. They don't give a fuck about your children. They really don't give a fuck about your money. They don't want your money. Anytime you got to force somebody to take your fucking money, they don't care about your money. What they care about, what they are concerned with, is your money as a whole. And as a whole, black folks make a whole bunch of money, and we need to start making a whole bunch of motherfuckers suffer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That's the intellectual rant, Jeff Brown. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Some of that I wrote while I was high, as you can tell. Because I like high. God is on high. I get high. That's what we talk.
Let me just say, economic sanctions as a means of activism isn't new. Martin Luther King, when they boycotted the bus line, that hurt that economy.
Changed the economy.
Changed it. I mean, that's a powerful means of affecting change in a society that refuses to change. But listen, when you look at the buying power of African Americans, we talk about this a lot. In 2015, it's projected to be $1.1 trillion. That's the income of nations, right? But we don't act like nations. We are a nation of individuals.
That's a bucket with a hole in it.
Exactly. And we're very stratified within our community. And I think what Corey and what my man Bobby is talking about, and Jeff too, to a degree, what we have to do is find a way to get the stratifications within our community to kind of weld themselves together with a common cause and purpose. Now, that's going to require strategy. Now, I agree with your economic terrorism, but guess what? It can't be random. It has to be corporations that directly affect us.
I disagree with that.
Has to be.
I disagree with that.
Go ahead.
Hey, but look, back in the day, somebody like Martin Luther King could do something like that because of their because of who they were. The rep they have made people follow them. They don't have anybody like that now. They got rid of niggas like that to be seen on television and everything because Barack Obama.
What about Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson?
He got a job at CNN. They hustlers. Barack Obama and Puffy fuck dudes. So I'm just saying, we don't have nobody. We don't have nobody that everybody look up to. Hey, when it come out, when I saw Barack Obama hanging out with Jamie Foxx, I knew he was fucking nigga.
Oh my God! You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. And you didn't see it. This was not Jeff Brown. It's my boy. It's my ace, Corey Holcomb.
When I saw Barack Obama hanging out with Jamie Foxx, I said that nigga.
Oh, hanging out. I thought you said making out. Did anybody else hear making out? I thought I heard making out.
Hey, listen, I got one.
Bobby.
You mentioned in one of your questions, what are some of the solutions, concept. So a brother named Wendell Stimley got a company called Black IPO. And he called me the other day from Atlanta, and he said, Bobby, what we have to do is put a
drop.
Oh, I'm dropping it like an anvil because the brother made a very important point, and you can take it or leave it. He said, until we put a value, economic, monetary value on a black life, we can't go and get the money that the families
I think
do.
that's working
Because-
backwards.
No, listen to this.
Because
part
life is
of it.
priceless, whether it's black,
No,
white, or whatever.
priceless
It's
my
priceless.
ass.
That's untrue.
It is.
If you
It's
say
priceless.
no,
That's not
if
true.
you take
Priceless.
this man's life, it's gonna cost
X dollars.
somebody some money.
Yeah.
That's a different conversation
Absolutely.
than priceless.
No,
Absolutely.
I get what you're saying. You're talking about, I get what you're saying. That's punitive damages. You're talking about making somebody pay a price, but at the end of the
It
day,
ain't somebody.
but at the end of the day, hold on, Bobby.
It's
At the end of the
not somebody.
goddamn day,
It's
making
the
them pay
person
a
that
price,
took the
that's
life.
just like a luxury tax for a sports team. At the end of the day, if you do this, we're going to charge you this. Now, let me finish, Bobby. This
that's
is my
not true.
show. Remember that now. Let me get this. But the point that I'm making is, until the police value all life,
Who you think I'm talking about?
I'm just talking about period.
No.
At the end of the day,
What's that policeman's name?
listen to me, Bobby. At the end of the day, Mike Brown, Eric Garner, what's the other hoodie? My man with the hoodie, Trayvon, Oscar Grant. I could keep naming
Amadou
cats.
Diallo.
We could keep naming cats. At the end of the day, the reason why they can kill, listen to this, this was part of the final thought, but fuck it. The reason why they can kill us without a second thought, and it comes across as they don't value our lives, is because ultimately we don't value our lives.
Woo.
Ultimately, black people don't value each other. So now we live in a
That ain't the
society.
point I'm making,
Listen, tell me I'm wrong.
Yes.
Tell me I'm wrong. We don't value each other in this community. There is more
There has
enmity.
never been a value assessed to a black life, period, from us.
Well, that's
because
what
it's
I'm
worth
saying.
something. Your life is worth something.
It's worth more than something.
It's possible.
Let's put a
It's
dollar-
possible to
put a
agree with you
dollar
both.
value. It is. Because I didn't
It's
say nothing
possible
to
to agree
contract
with you both.
contradict
Yeah.
him.
Can I jump in on this? Okay.
You talk about a bunch of people
I agree.
who been brought over here from their homeland and put in a fucking cage. And you talking about we don't love each other. If you do any race the way you've done black people, because we weren't born here like that. Our ancestors were brought in boats and all that shit. All the stuff people want to forget. They just want to talk about what's happening.
Those are excuses.
Right.
Those mean nothing.
Right.
You think so?
The fact that you've been cut from your history means absolutely nothing.
Caucasian
Pull
people
yourself up
start
by the
going broke.
bootstraps.
Caucasian people start going broke in the 30s and they was jumping off buildings.
Okay.
And then every time,
Work
let's
for
not
a wage.
leave this out. Every time black people showed an incredible amount of unity, an incredible amount of togetherness, economic togetherness. Come on, Black Wall Street. Every time,
Did that happen or
to
didn't it?
me, in my perspective, and maybe Dr. Goulston could speak for his white counterparts, but for me, from my perspective, black togetherness is an act of terrorism. To me. The blacks have to listen to what I'm saying. And I'm just telling you the truth now. I'm just telling you the truth. Blacks in America, since 1865, the Emancipation Proclamation, since that went down, they've been trying to get us to integrate and assimilate into the society in a way that is comfortable for them. They need to know, like, you don't have no residual resentment because we fucked you over all this time.
So shave your facial hair.
Conform so I can be comfortable. White people are the most myopic people on planet Earth. Let's just be honest.
Wait, what does myopic mean?
Just closed-minded. It's just tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision.
Right? Some of the most... Because what happens is it turns into a conversation of, hey, that was 150 years ago. That wasn't me. I don't know anything about it. There's an isolated and insulated kind of interface going on.
Unlike anybody
you
else on
guys
the
live
earth.
over there. This is your experience. This is ours.
You
And until that's dealt with, because that's, to me, that's the honest conversation you alluded to earlier. The honest conversation is, now you have to be reflective, white folk. When you see shit like Mike Brown, when you see that, you have to be reflective and go,
I'm connected to those
I'm
gurus.
connected to this monster that produces this type of behavior.
Right.
When Meserly, the guy who shot Oscar Grant, when he only serves 11 months for taking the life of a young father and son, when he only does 11 months and he's out of prison, but when a young kid has
His house ought to be up
$200
for
worth
sale
of crack,
right
he
now.
goes for 30 years.
His house should be up for sale.
Let's just be
right
honest
now.
about
This is
that,
for
though.
killing that
This is
boy.
why black thugs ain't shit.
I'm saying monetize the
Well, that's a whole
loss
nother
of a
thing.
black life.
You know,
Okay.
so
Oh, listen, we got to wrap. We'll be right back. Commercial. We're going to come back.
Madoff.
Crazy. Wow. 3 very powerful speakers. Listen, that last one, of course, very dynamic brother.
Brother Khalid.
Khalid Muhammad, man. He was saying, that last little piece, he was explaining that this is how young black men should interface with police, right? And he was simply saying, your ID serves as your rank and file, and you don't give them no more information other than that, unless you're being arrested or something. He was saying you have to deal with the police as if you're a soldier behind enemy lines. And that's why he called the ID, the identification card, your rank and file. You give them your name and your rank and file. And if you haven't done anything, you stick to the laws of the land, which is if you're not going to arrest me, I get to move on. You get to, give me my but again, Corey mentioned this. Corey mentioned this too before. You guys, this is what a lot of people are starting to see now. We're American. We're free. No. What you thought was freedom is now starting to be, it's been being recontextualized since 9/11. So you got to remember that Constitution stuff, a lot of these people are speaking, we're Americans and we're free. Things done changed. Dr. G?
I got to say something, because some of what we talked about is white guys and white people focused on, they have a certain financial myopia. And so in the white business community, they're always talking about quarterly results. They're not talking about what a company actually does. We've got to get quarterly results. So something that could start today, and if it's, hurting the innocent, so they'll get a taste of it. If every black person starting today refused to go to a Walmart for a quarter, to a Walmart. Now, Walmart might say, well, we're more innocent than other people.
We love you, niggers. We've got your favorite crackers.
No, but if Walmart said, well, they're far more evil companies than us, well, then, a lot of black people can say there's far more evil people than us. But I think if for one quarter, black people did not go to Walmart.
Power.
Because,
shut Walmart down.
No, but what would happen is it would get
They'd have to unionize. They'd have to stop raping the people of China,
but the key thing,
buy American-only products.
It would ripple effect like a mud.
The key thing is it would be a focused effort, and it would gain attention. And I think blacks would say, "Wow, this really had an effect," because the eyes,
we got juice.
Because the eyes of the world,
we got juice.
Because Walmart, I think Walmart's the biggest company in the world.
So
It's the dollar.
that's a great point.
Who would what?
Hey, Corey Holcomb just made a great point. He said, "Who would set that up?"
I said, who would set that up?
That's a good
Because
idea, Doc.
everybody who's allowed, underline the word allowed, everybody who's allowed to be in the public eye has passed the, we approve of this nigga check. Every nigga on TV, when I watch CNN,
That's true.
I am
But
so
wait a minute.
embarrassed.
Hold on.
No.
Hold
Okay,
on.
name 3.
Everybody.
I'm confused.
All of Jesus's people. Hold on. Jesus people. Hold on.
Okay, then I can talk.
No, you Jesus people too.
No, not really.
You were saved when you was young. I know. Now listen. Hold on.
Learn how to read.
We have a special guest that has called in. They're on Skype. The brother's name, he's on the phone. His name is Germar Derron. He works in media and in law and is the founder of, I don't know if I like the way this website sounds. Maybe we need to go there. He's a brother. LookToTheCookie.org. Now, I don't know if this is a...
Look to the cookie.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. A progressive pop culture news site. He's going to come in. He's an activist. Brother Germar, speak to us. I know you've been listening to the rabble that's been going on in here. Speak to us, man. Talk to us.
Hey, how you doing? It is Germar Derron. I guess I'll tell you a little bit about the site very quickly. The Look to the Cookie portion specifically. That is a Seinfeld reference. I don't know if you know the episode about the eating the black and white cookie. Are you there?
Yeah, we're listening.
Okay. About eating the black and white cookie and racial harmony and all that sort of thing. At the time when I started the website, I was dating a white woman, and that was it was kind of a joke of our relationship, so it was a play on that. Like, the two of us were in law school, we were all about activism and racial issues and gender issues, and that's where the name came from. Of course, I'm no longer with her, but I kept the name, and that's just the beginning of the site.
What happened?
Well, speak to us about what we've been talking about regarding activism, especially as it pertains to the latest black, dead, young teenager or just black male that's been killed by police. Speak to us about activism and how we can do something that is strategic, that is constructive, and more importantly, that is effective with regards to what's going on in America today.
That is a really powerful question. It's something I deal with and think about a lot. That's kind of what I've been dealing with for the last few years. And the effective part is interesting, and also just getting people to do anything. I am, I guess, basically the start of the millennial generation, and I've had a lot of, I don't want to say fights, but just kind of a back and forth about should we be marching, should we be sitting in boycotting, should we be on our phones, be on Twitter. A lot of people feel like that's kind of passive activism, but actually I do feel like the social media reaches a lot of people. It is what we do. If I go to dinner, all 20 of us are looking at our phones and our tablets the whole time. And we'll see what happens there before we see something that happens right in front of us. So just to get attention and get the message out, you do need to use all those outlets. But I do think the Twitter and the Facebook and whatever it is, that's going to reach more people. Now, beyond that, my struggle as far as to actually get people to do stuff, some of these things, like right now we got the Ice Bucket Challenge, that could work in these movements. But to actually get your brother, your friend, your cousin, your next door neighbor to do these things, I don't know what that takes. I do think that overall, if I have the time to go on, the problem is, and I'm sure other people have said this, is that America, all of us, not just white, not cops, blacks, we don't really value black life. We don't get it. We don't see us as equals. And when I say we, I don't necessarily mean me or you. And that is that's the issue. That is the main issue, is making us human, making us equal, showing people that we are not this thing that the statistics and the news and things will portray us as.
Well, brother, let me just say, man, I appreciate the information you've shared with us. You're more than welcome to hang on the line with us, and if you have something to say to us, I will come back to you. I want to throw some of the comments that he said, that he laid out.
Is it cool if I jump up? Is it
sure, Thor. Let's go.
Handle it.
What he was saying.
Well,
Corey is Corey is
always trying to respond to what everybody's saying. Okay,
so Miss Thor,
we're a little done with Corey for a hot minute. Okay,
so Miss Thor, please.
We're never done with Corey.
Yeah, that's true. You are pretty entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so Corey brought up a point that, like, if we're gonna do this whole for a quarter, let's not go to Walmart and make the black voice heard by using this financial drive that the white man has.
Right.
He said, well, who the hell is going to do that? And I agree, there needs to be leadership, there needs to be unity, there has to be a focus and a strategy among a mass of people for this to happen. However, what's different now is you don't need Al Sharpton. You can bust out on Twitter. You can bust out on social media. Yeah. The Egyptian revolution, you're talking to Egyptian right here, okay, happened because of Facebook. So now things are different. It's different now. Our voices can be heard because you're a person, not because you're a person of power or finances or any of that. So to me, I agree with you, there needs to be leadership, but I believe one of us could decide to head it up. Like, he brought up a great point with that Ice Bucket Challenge. That shit is everywhere. Right. Everywhere. Greg Laurie at the Harvest Crusade was doing that on his head in front of thousands of people last night. Are you kidding? I'm listening to Kiss FM and freaking, what's his face? The host is like, I'm going to do the Ice Bucket Challenge. I'm going to nominate you, Alan Kay.
It's easier to pour a bucket over your head of ice than it is to say, I can't shop at Walmart. I don't want to shop at Walmart, but I'm only making $16,000 a year.
So what?
It's easy for us to say.
No.
So you're saying there's lazy activists out there?
They can go to Target. They can go to Costco. We just pointed out one single thing.
The reason I said guys like Barack Obama
and I've never shopped in Walmart, nor will I ever. Good for you. Because they're union busters.
Yeah. These women promised they would not do any cross-talking during the breaks. They're liars.
That's it.
Go ahead, Jeff.
We learned from Corey.
Okay, these are women. You talking about promises women make in conversation?
Are you serious? Go ahead, Jeff.
You're not married, are you? Okay. I don't disagree with Corey often, but I do now. and I'm kind of on your side.
That's because you paid for, nigga. Go ahead, Jeff.
That's why I shaved my mustache today. Who's the Jewish leader? Show of hands if anybody knows the one Jew that the rest of the Jews wait to get
Mark's
down with.
face says, don't say Jewish in that tone.
That's hilarious. Who's a Japanese leader? Who's a Japanese leader? Okay, who's a Chinese leader? Other than maybe Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee. Show of hands. Who's the there isn't
You
one.
just pissed everybody.
Why? Because they are connected to their history on a get down that says when this happens,
so you're saying their community is the leader?
Yes. Yeah. You don't fuck with one Jew. It's impossible. It is impossible to fuck with one Jew. Ooh. It's impossible to fuck with one Mexican. You can't. You're fucking with them all.
All of them.
It's easy to fuck with one.
Can you just say messing with them?
No, I like fuck.
Okay.
You can't. We can't get together enough to go. You know what? There go them niggas from 88. Pow, 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 pow.
That's what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say is the television has basically found a way to make every black man who has something to say one
aggressive,
who won't be on
negative,
television.
Yeah.
Simple as that. He will not be seen. So the leaders that we know about or the people we look up to are people, that's why I said Barack Obama and Puffy. They were put there on purpose because they are the weak.
But I feel
Bobby, and then Hassan.
Okay, quickly.
And then we're going to break.
The good news is these new platforms have superseded traditional modes of communication.
Yeah.
Right.
Young people don't even watch the news.
Yeah, that's
okay.
true.
Today? No. One day I made a tweet. I made a tweet about Barack Obama, and the people from Twitter got in touch with me and basically threatened me. I might still have it.
Well, here's the
Please let us see that.
All right,
They wrap it,
you,
and then we got to go to break.
They threaten you, but they couldn't shut you down because there's more. They can and they can't.
Can shut you down now.
They can and they can't. They can limit certain conversations, but they can't silence your voice because you go out every week, Corey. You go out every week and you reach thousands and thousands of people real quickly. The good news.
Not quick enough.
The music.
The good news is there are too many forms of communication for us not to be able to impact the economy by spreading that message. We're not shopping here.
Right.
And we can reach more people now than we ever could in the history of this country.
We'll be back at 2.2. Zo What is off the rails right now. God damn it, activism! Woo!
Janice Kelsey was 16 years old when she and her schoolmates were jailed.
My mind was made up. I was going to participate. I was going to go to jail. I wanted to get my freedom.
Then on the second day of the student demonstrations, things turned violent. Police turned high-pressure fire hoses on the young people and set attack dogs on them. Birmingham civil rights leader Reverend Calvin Woods was there.
There had been some dog biting, some beating, some killing. Many people were beaten and spit on and put in jail, lost jobs. But those were minor things compared to what we felt we had to do.
The brutal crackdown was widely televised, and images of the event were seen around the world. Robert Corley says this incident galvanized new support for the civil rights movement.
It was really that children's crusade that really turned the tide, because it did serve the goal of filling up the jails and forcing the white community to come to the table with King and negotiate some sort of settlement.
Jeez. That was some very powerful stuff right there. Listen, we have on the line right now famed attorney, my good friend Bobby Glanton calls him, get him out, Grimes.
That's him.
Milton Grimes is on the line right now. Please weigh in on this hands up, don't shoot movement, man. What is going on, Brother Grimes?
Good afternoon, brothers. What's going on? It hasn't stopped going on since I've been alive, so it's going to continue unless we do something about it. Remember when the verdict came out of Simi Valley in 1992, and I was interviewed by the LA Times, and my comment at about 3:30 that afternoon was, if I had me some new tennis shoes and was 20 years younger, I would be in the streets tonight. 2 hours later, young people were in the streets. It caused a change. Sometimes you have to have civil disorder in order to cause a change. It's like a storm that comes along and wash away the old and new will grow. Sometimes we need that. We also need to be in the courtroom. You know, we need some verdicts like one in Florida about a month ago on the tobacco industry, where the jury came back $23.6 billion for one man's death because they were tired of the tobacco industry lying about the addiction of tobacco and the poison of tobacco. And the people were just tired. So they said, we're going to hit these motherfuckers in the ass where it is felt, and that's with money. Until we do something in the courtrooms, in the streets, or wherever else we have, the boardroom is not going to change what they do to young black people, whether your hands are up or hands are down. And that includes men and women, as you saw a couple of weeks ago when the Highway Patrol beat the hell out of this sister. Yeah. They don't care what sex you are.
Yeah. And Brother Grimes, let me ask you really quickly, what is the most effective form of activism that we have at our disposal today? What should we do?
I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of civil disorder. I think it's a combination of nonviolent protest marching. I couldn't do that in the civil rights movement because I wasn't going to let somebody smack me and not smack them back.
I got that same problem.
Right. I'm sorry. But I think it takes a combination. I respect Martin Luther King at the time of when he was living. I couldn't agree with him on the nonviolent movement, but I understand it now better than I did then. But I think it's a combination of things. I think it has to be some serious demilitarizing of the attitude of law enforcement. They are giving thousands of weapons from the Army to law enforcement throughout this country. And when you hold those weapons, I had a AK-47 in my hands a couple of days ago. You feel like the Terminator. You feel like I will kick your ass when you hold a weapon that heavy and that powerful in your hand. And that's what some of these guys have in the civil streets today. It's not on a battlefield, but when you hold those kinds of weapons, you want to use them. You want to kill somebody or kick somebody's ass. So I think it's a need to fully demilitarize the attitude of police, do some serious training with them on how to deal with conflict with people other than through force. And no, I'm not going to teach my son to bow down to nobody, including the police.
Man, Brother Grimes, absolutely. Let me just say, I so appreciate you taking time out, because he was in court. He got to go back to court. I so appreciate you taking time out, sharing that information. It changed the game for us today. And we'll be seeing you soon, right?
Okay, bro. Anytime, man.
All right, brother. Thank you again.
All right, y'all.
Get him out. Get him out, Grimes.
Get him out, Grimes, ladies and gentlemen. And again, he says something that's powerful. Don't you recognize that this is a battle of ideas? The black highway patrol chief that they put in charge of talking to the cats, Johnson, right? Ron Johnson. Do you know how he addressed those people? He addressed them as one of them, like he's us, right? He's family. But he also addressed it from a police perspective that dealt strictly with stereotypes. He used his own son. He said, I have a son. As to say, that could have been my boy. Yeah. He explained. He has tattoos, and he wears his hat to the side. So I got to go have that conversation with my boy. Why? Because as police officers, they're trained to see the stereotype. Trayvon Martin was a stereotype. A hoodie is a stereotype. If he's wearing a hoodie, he's a hood. So Will Smith puts on a hoodie, and the Miami Heat put on hoodies, and all kind of white people put on hoodies to say, no. So when Grimes is saying we have to demilitarize the mindset of the police, that's getting into social stereotypes. All black men are whatever, quote unquote, right? Black while driving, remember that? All of these things are still in place, and they're systemic with regards to how we interface. We're interfacing with ideas, not people. Go ahead.
I think we all disagree to some degree on how that demilitarizing should take place. I hear the word boycott. I hear the word sanction, and those don't quite get to where I'm going. I'm saying punish and cripple. let's take the Clippers, for example. I think it was horrible. I think black people dropped the ball yet again.
Another ball dropped.
Yet again,
Yeah.
when they forced the NBA to take sanctions and make this dude sell his company. Never should have happened. What should have happened is that black players should have said, once my contract is out, none of us will play for or against the Clippers.
Ever.
Ever. We're going to watch your games on purpose. And when you go to commercial, every one of those products, black people who are, and people of other colors sympathetic with this cause.
But this goes back to Corey's point. This goes back to Corey's point. Corey's point is niggas just want to fit in and just live a nice little comfortable life.
I didn't say that.
But that's what it is. Most niggas,
What I was trying to say, no, I didn't hear though. Look, what I said was, there are the people who are put on the television, the people who are put out there for the public to see are the people that want to conform. Because if you're not willing to conform, you can't be on television or a movie or something like that. So that's what I'm saying. The people that are willing to speak up and say something are not being heard.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Let me just so let's stay on that point.
Yeah,
so the people who are put on television or in some type
We
of
said people all the people.
All right,
all the people.
let's just use movies.
All right, use it. Let's do it.
So Will Smith. Okay, cool. He's got a movie.
Bust this out.
Then how would you characterize
Let me say
the
this.
tens of thousands of African Americans who are the second largest ticket buyers in America for going to see a Will Smith film?
And we gonna answer that. You gonna answer that on the break. When we come back. Dude, we out of time. That's what I'm telling you.
God damn it. Put some headphones on, Corey.
Oh, damn. V for Vendetta, niggas. Corey had a quick question.
I just wanted to make sure people know what I'm saying. What was that question you asked?
Well, you commented about the people on television and movies and blah, blah, blah. So I said, how do you explain the tens of thousands of African Americans who purchased the tickets to see them?
I feel sorry for the people who have to go to the movies and see the same slapstick comedy that's created by, like when they go to a black movie, they think a black person wrote it. That's not true. Hollywood is ran by Caucasian writers. So when you go to the movies and you're so disappointed and you see brothers eating watermelon and you see how she get mad and sisters jumping on one leg like Vanessa Bell Calloway. I'm almost done, ma'am. Like Vanessa Bell Calloway when she was jumping on. See, that's how they do.
Finish, man. This is my final thought.
Go. They call the black men angry all the time. But look, I seen too many movies with black women hopping on one leg. It's predictable. Vanessa Bell Calloway got mad at me. And now I'm sure she gonna get mad at me because what you did with your UCLA degree ain't nothing because you was hopping on one leg on TV.
Let's see.
Oh, okay.
Who's going to remember what?
Good question. All right, now, God damn it.
That's what I know.
Who's going to remember what?
Cut everyone's mic.
You walk into a crowded room.
So, now let me do this really quickly. Hey, let me...
Let's look you up on IMDb.
Let me do this real quickly. Oh God, here we go. Let me do this. Yes. Really quickly, there is a nationwide protest. Blackout Monday, September 8th, 2014. We will not participate or we will not patronize any business that is not black owned and operated. This means do not spend any money in person or online. Blackout Monday, September 8th, 2014. Walmart, Kmart, BJ, Sam's Clubs, Costco, Home Depot, Lowe's, what else? Shell, BP, gas stations. Now remember a few years back, before there was a tragedy, it was Farrakhan who initially called for us to take one day to where we don't purchase anything. And nobody really got on board with him on that. And this was a few years after he did the Million Man March. He said, listen, we got to really show them the power of our dollar by taking it out of their system. But a lot of people don't want to do that because we, you know, like you said something about lazy and apathy. There's, you know, that's in our society. This is what I'm going to say, too. D.L. Hughley posted something on Facebook. He said, this is a message to Iggy Azalea, Miley Cyrus, and Justin Bieber. He said, y'all awful quiet right now. He said, everybody wants to be black until it's actually time to be black. So I acknowledge that. We actually are the farm system for creativity for the entertainment industry, and everybody gets to be like us until it's really time to live and walk in our shoes. So that was a great point on that. To Obama, are you really your brother's keeper? Because he signed the Your Brother's Keeper Act. And to speak to what Corey and Bobby and Jeff and all of the brothers in here speak on a lot, they ask us to be a certain way. They want a certain type of Negro, male, without dealing with our underlying issues. They want us to shape up, pull up by the bootstraps, get right, and get in alignment with a system that really doesn't value us. It's unfair to ask us to integrate into a system that has no value for us. That's unfair. That's wrong. Because men, if we're really men, like Bobby writes, real men don't play. If we real men, we're going to notice that you don't give two shakes of a fat rat's ass about us, and we're going to resist. Now, our woman may not, because she likes her high heels and her job and her freedom and her education. She likes that, and she don't mind playing the game that they have. But what happens is that ultimate pressure comes back to us in her demands of us. You have to acknowledge the plight we're living in order to say this is who you need to be or this is what you should be doing. And then my final thought on this is Bloods and Crips should return to their revolutionary roots. The Bloods and Crips started off as offshoots of the Black Panthers. Community resistance and progress is what a Crip means. Right? And the Bloodstones, and you should return to your revolutionary roots and go back. Like Grimes said, civil disobedience, but it has to be strategic, right? It can't be looting and burning shit down. It has to be strategic. Can you imagine if every African American in America lined up and said, we're about to just descend on Los Angeles? The police force ain't big enough to deal with us. They're not big enough to deal with us. Everybody in America said, we meeting in Los Angeles. We want questions answered. And we just mashed. Now that's like the Egyptian scene that we just showed, right? The people in Egypt rose up and changed that system. Now maybe they placated them a little bit and gave them a little bit of what they wanted and still put them in a different kind of situation that's basically the same. But we've got to do something. We can't just sit back and be idle. And my final thought. The most radical thing black people can do is make self-respect and the respect of each other our religion. That is the greatest activist motion we can do. We got to stop doing business with the devil, expecting the devil to hold up to the terms of the agreement. He's a devil as long as he's taking advantage of you and your family. Now, if it's really fair, he'll put all of his cards on the table and he'll have both hands out in pure sight and clear sight. But if he's not doing that, we got to stop doing business with him. So again, thank you, Corey, for all of the stuff you mentioned, and it's real. That degree don't matter when it's a police state. Your so-called class don't matter when they pulling you over because you look like a particular stereotype. It don't matter. And we're starting to see that. The alderman in Ferguson was pulled over and arrested. That's a city councilman and fined $38,000. What happened to his degree? What happened to all of his loftiness? It all goes to the side when they pick you out of the crowd because you look like the rest of us. It all goes bad that way. I'm ZoWilliams. That's my final thought. Man, this was fun. Let me go around the table really quickly. Bobby Glanton-Smith, where did he get the book?
Don't Play Amazon, on my website, realmendon'tplay.com. Let's monetize the madness.
Monetize the madness. Shereen Thor, little sister of Thor and Loki.
That's right. Just check me out at awakentherebel.com and I'll help you rebel.
My man, Hassan. Speak to us, man.
We Juice. OUIjuice.com. Check me out. Get some of my products. We got all kind of cleanses, six-pack energy, detox, immunity. Improve your health, people.
Yeah, clean your ass. Dr. G.
MarkGoulston.com, MarkGoulston.com.
Jeff Brown.
Go to iTunes, get Jeff Brown's wrong ass shit.
You was wrong today. You was wrong a lot today.
Yeah, and my ringtone.
And of course, none other than legendary comedian Corey Holcomb, Black Jesus.
As long as we under the leadership of Caucasian people, the nightmare continues.
Wow. Where are you performing now? Yeah, they showing up. And of course, Anne-Marie Johnson. Where can they find you, love?
Well, this has certainly been an experience. At AMJ Loves LA.
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Zo What Mornings. We'll be back next week with another heater.